Hi there, people. This is Spray Love, and I'm presenting my evening scent of the day, which is not the day anymore, but anyways. I'm presenting Haramain L'Aventure. So, as I'm dressed up right now at this moment to appear particularly rich and in a position of great evening time, I am pretty aware that this one is a pretty cheap fragrance but yet smells almost identical to a very pricey fragrance. So it's Creed Aventus. It's a Creed Aventus clone. So don't get fooled. It's not like it doesn't try to be something else. You know, it's called L'Aventure. Haramain, they're known for doing pretty nice clones of other fragrances. So why would you buy this instead of buying other clones or Creed Aventus? Well, Creed Aventus, it's pretty obvious that it's uh, way too pricey for most people, I think. Uh, and I think it's also the price is way too high for what the actual fragrance um, aspires to. And what I mean by that is that Aventus is a mass appealing, everybody can wear it, very fresh, like incredible fragrance. It's a superb fragrance, but like in my opinion, it's not worth the high price tag that you pay for it. So some people go for clones of this fragrance or fragrances in a similar style. So there's niche fragrances that are similar to Aventus yet not identical, like Asivat from Nichane, and there's also clones, but there's also pretty nice, um, designer-like Aventus fragrances. I've never smelled America by God. I think it's Tommy Hilfiger, something like that. Like I kind of get mixed up with all this like Tommy Hilfiger. I don't know, Calvin Klein, whatever. All these like designer fragrances that are pretty cheap. So I've never smelled it, but I guess it must smell pretty good since it's an Aventus style fragrance. But there's also Mont Blanc Explorer, which is another Aventus style fragrance from the designer realm that is pretty cheap. All right, and then you got like the low bottom of it all, the clones. You know, the actual dupes. So you've got the most popular one, Club de Nuittas for Man, which I have reviewed. I have owned that fragrance. I have also owned Mont Blanc Explorer, not anymore. I always like to have a Aventus like fragrance around because I like that DNA so much. It just smells very good, but I'm not willing to go to the high price tag of Aventus like a lot of people. I'm sure you understand. Anyway, this one it's a super clone, and I'd even go as far as to say that the DNA for Aventus that was created like for Aventus by Creed is to me like, and this was always my opinion, much more appropriate to a very less pricey kind of a fragrance. What I mean by that is that you don't need super expensive ingredients to do a very nice Aventus style fragrance that will please just as much as Aventus. And I'd even go as much as to say that perhaps a lot of clones or fragrances inspired by Aventus would eventually get even more attention than Aventus itself because they use synthetic ingredients and their mixes might be interesting to some noses. And to my nose, Haramain L'Aventure is pretty damn interesting. It's a bit more on the synthetic side. There's more ambroxan. There's, you know, it's more like a kind of a party fragrance. It projects a lot. It's an eau de parfum, so it projects a lot. It lasts a long time. I'm wearing it a lot of times these days, and it lasts until the next morning. I still get whiffs, so it's a very good performing fragrance. I think that L'Aventure outperforms Aventus. And for real, like let's be real, it's very hard to tell the difference between this one or Club de Nuit Intense for Man or Aventus if you don't smell like at every living point of the fragrance, which is at the opening where Club de Nuit Intense for Man is very apparent as being a lot cheaper, or on the mid and on the far dry down. This one is probably like L'Aventure is probably the fruitiest of all Aventus and all the dupes and the inspired fragrances. So more fruity, you get more of that pineapple vibe, more of that citrusy vibe too, more of the freshness. It's a bit more interesting for the winter. No, I mean the summer, but it's still pretty good in the winter because, like Aventus, it's got that smokiness and creaminess to it that allows it for very nice winter wear. Now, one of the main reasons I think people go for Aventus is because it has some prestige and it is very much better done than any dupes or any inspired. Even like some could argue that Asivat is better than Aventus, like on the quality side. And I'm not getting into that debate. I don't know enough about Asivat. I've smelled it a couple of times. I've tried Aventus a lot more. But at the end of the day, you decide. You do you, and it's like when I realized how much I paid for Sauvage, which is like a shower gel type scent, when I could just pay like 10 $15 for a shower gel type scent that is almost identical, even perhaps even more interesting sometimes, more different a bit. Uh, yes, it will not be the same quality of ingredients, but I prefer like getting my money together to buy some real fragrances that I think are more interesting and worth of the nuances that a higher quality would give. By that I mean, um, if you get an incredible oud fragrance like Oud for Greatness, or I don't know, some high-end Guerlains that I have, like Guerlain made some fantastic fragrances that nothing smells like that. It's completely awesome and it's kind of very hard to copy. Whereas Aventus, like everyone's got their version, it's becoming a style of fragrance more than a fragrance by itself, in my opinion. And so this is why I've got no shame, I'm just wearing L'Aventure. So for people who don't know Aventus, this one is like a pineapple, citrusy, fresh but still smoky, creamy fragrance. Uh, that is like usage is every day, anytime, anywhere, any place, any season, any occasion, whatever. You always smell fantastic. It projects a lot. It's got good longevity. It's got everything most people want from a fragrance, and it's very dirty cheap. And some people will recall Aventus and be like, "Oh my God, you smell like $1 million," and then you'll be like, "Yeah, but it's a clone of $1 million, so it's not worth as much, isn't it?" But nevertheless, it smells amazing. I really like that fragrance. I know that my wife really liked Mont Blanc Explorer, but I think it did not satisfy um, my expectations on the projection level and the longevity of the fragrance. I was keeping like spraying too much. This one I think will do a better job, and I hope it does a better job. And if it doesn't, I'm just gonna cycle it back. And I'm trying right now. As of now, I think this fragrance is far superior to Explorer, far superior to Club de Nuit Intense. I think it's, for the price point, perhaps the best Aventus clone out there. So this is my opinion. And also, if you like Aventus and you're not in it for like the money or something, I understand. It's a fantastic fragrance. The first time I smelled it, I was like, this is awesome. This is super nice. Natural smelling, very, very clever composition, everything. I'm not saying it's a bad fragrance. I'm just saying that the price point is a bit too high. Like for my taste, I'm not like that rich, and I believe that most people checking out informations about fragrances on the internet are not able to afford Aventus. So I think it's just fair to offer alternatives that are pretty good. And the other alternative, if you're not sure if this smells like Aventus or Club de Nuitance or whatever, sample Aventus. Do just like I did. I sampled Aventus. I sampled some inspired by fragrances and in the style of Aventus, and I was just with that I was very happy, you know. And when my sample got over of Aventus, I was like, well, you know, I've tested side by side with tons of fragrances that were in that style. Uh, I think it's not even the best one of the bunch. So, and it's my opinion. For you, perhaps it will be the best one of the bunch. But for me, it was just like, oh yeah, okay, good. Yeah, they're still in Broxton. They're still, you know, same kind of composition, more natural ingredients, more quality ingredients. But it's not worth like $800 or something. That's my opinion. And then if you don't agree, yeah, argue in the comments. I don't mind. And everyone's got the right to their opinion. And spread love and spray love. Bye bye.